You need to drive a transformation in your business. How are you doing that today? And what would be your advice to the partners that need to transform their businesses, but also transform the businesses of their customers?
Yeah, no, first of all, it's so great to be here at the HP Partner Conference. The thing that I think about every time I think about Microsoft, one of the threads that has been constant since day one for us is we've been a platform company and we've been a partner company. Because that's how, in some sense, we've grown our platforms. It has been fundamentally build platforms that can help our customers transform, but to do that with a business model that has partners. Whether it was the PC or whether it's the cloud today, it's the same.
And that back then it was information available to everyone everywhere. Right. I still remember it.
That's right. It's still the same. It's just that it takes different forms.
Right.
But to your question, though, one of the things that's exciting for everyone in this room and for us collectively is take information technology that we represent and its power. In the past, we would say we would call on a business, we would sort of talk about technology and how it could improve maybe in a narrow way their productivity. But going forward, there isn't a business out there, whether it's in retail, it's in banking, it's in healthcare, that doesn't think of itself as a digital company going forward. Everybody recognizes that information technology no longer is just an enabler of office work. It is in fact at the core of what they do. That's the opportunity for us all. And so to me, being able to think about the value propositions that we deliver to our customers so that they can ride the wave of digital transformation is, I think, what's exciting about what's happening at least today. And you know, in fact, some of the use cases that you yourself are going through, right? Look at that. Microsoft's going through the same.
Right.
We ourselves are reinventing everything in terms of our digital front end, our partner programs, how we interface. That means each one of you in the room is going to do the same. But guess what? Each one of our customers is going to do the same. And that recursiveness is where the power of what we do is.
Yeah, indeed. We were talking about it the other day internally. We were doing a review of our 3D printing business, and one of the business leaders described this as digital transformation, digital manufacturing. And I've never quite heard the term digital manufacturing before, but when you think about it, we're transforming very old analog industries, and even those industries are moving digital.
Right. I mean, in fact, sometimes when I think about the economic opportunity, in the past, we used to perhaps look at IT spend as a percentage of GDP, which itself is growing faster than the GDP. But if you look at the opportunities for other OPEX, because of increased digitization, what is considered today OPEX spend that is non-IT, you have an opportunity to move it into digital. So that's one big one. But just, it doesn't stop there. COGS. I mean, there isn't an elevator, there isn't a car, there isn't a city that is no longer connected.
Right.
So just regular COGS are now digital COGS. When I think about sort of some of the things that are driving our Azure growth, it's fascinating to see how it's being driven by edge devices, which are not just your desktop computers, it's IoT everywhere. So that really is the phenomena that I think we can all collectively ride.
And that's really going to explode. A question, Satya, I am asked on every single industry analyst call that I get on is, what's driving adoption of Windows 10? How's it doing in the enterprise? What are we doing together to grow it?
Look, we are very excited about where we are in the cycle with Windows 10. The last number that we talked about is the 350 million monthly active devices, which by itself is the fastest growing version of Windows. It's pretty unprecedented in terms of its adoption cycle. But you asked one of the things that I'm very excited about, which is the enterprise adoption. The things that we've done in Windows 10, everything from the developer platform and the unification of it with great tooling, what we have done with the management side of it, but most importantly, security, because there isn't a more important agenda around computing endpoints that is bigger than security. And what you all have done with your own security stack and now with Windows 10, I think is a tremendous opportunity. And we see that in the run rate. I track every week the pilots that are going on and the enterprise deployments. And now I would say this is probably the fastest ramp. This is something that we're going to be very focused with you as well as with Intel to make sure we do a fantastic job in getting the enterprise customers to this new operating system with new devices, with better security, better management, better productivity. The value prop is so clear to me that we should really take this opportunity to deliver that and drive that deployment.
Yeah, and how are mobile apps going? Are they being developed at a pace?
The mobile apps situation for us is the key was to get this unified platform.
Right.
Quite frankly, if I look at what you've done with X3 and Windows 10, and even take Xbox, which is really another Windows 10 computer.
Yep.
So the combination of all of the Windows sockets is playing out. Some of the folks who looked at it and say, wait, give me the volume, you have the 350 million active devices. That was not the case because it was a fragmented market before. We never had an app store that could reach 350 million devices. That's just this year. Now, it's not just on the PCs, it also expands to some of these consumer categories on one end like Xbox, and to mobile categories with things that you're doing in X3. And to me, that is what's creating the inflection point. But the custom application development, so that's one thing for the head applications, but there's the long tail of enterprise applications. That is on another side where we are seeing fantastic traction with the tooling that we have. And so to me, the combination of those two makes Windows 10 deployment not only fantastic for applications that are there in application stores today, but more interestingly, probably the platform for applications you want to build and rapidly deploy.
And the key benefit there is of course, workflow transformation. And when you can transform those workflows to a digital flow, the productivity improvements are very clear. And I think Windows 10 is just an outstanding platform from our perspective of the most secure platform on the planet. When we pair it with some of the hardware work that we do that plugs directly into the software, I think we have the most secure devices, the most secure printers, as well as our PCs on the planet. So we're excited about the Windows 10 opportunity. We've been noticing in the same way as you have, more enterprise customers ramping faster to Windows 10 than any other Windows launch I've actually ever seen. I've been doing this quite a long time. Switching gears a little bit, today we put our money where our mouth is and we launched the 13 new devices you see down the sides of the room here. You also put your money where your mouth was and you created a new category with Surface. Prior to Surface, there really wasn't a Windows-based tablet offering. And you created that market, and a lot of people were pretty unhappy about it. I was a fairly public supporter. I said, we're not prepared to spend that kind of money on creating it. We'll come in off the back of it. But why did you create this category, and how do you think about the sort of invention, category creation that we're doing around X3 pairing with Continuum?
Yeah. To me, I think it is incumbent on Microsoft to be pushing the boundaries of what is considered personal computing. That's why whenever anybody tells me that what happens after the PC, I always say there will be more personal computing. It's just going to be in different forms. To me, the two-in-one was that pursuit. How do we really get to a place where we can create a tablet that can essentially also be a replace to a laptop? And that pursuit is what led us to Surface. We went at it a couple of cranks and we got it right. And now there is growth in that category to the point that even Apple is following. And I welcome that. I mean, to the degree to which we can create categories like that and create demand for it, I think it's fantastic for the industry. Same thing with HoloLens. I mean, if you look at the playbook there, what we're doing with the holographic computing where your field of view is an infinite display, is a complete new form of computing.
It's immersive.
It's immersive, and in fact, we are going to approach it as VR and AR as one continuum. But of course, we're building the device, but we're creating the category, and the software is Windows 10. So we expect you and others to be able to build these devices that are going to take AR and VR to different price points, different form factors. So that to me is at the core of what Microsoft's doing, which is bringing the software and the hardware innovation and creating new categories that drive our industry to growth and create this more personal computing.
And that's exactly the point. You know, I think the industry has been lacking innovation for far too long, and it's incumbent on us as leaders in the industry to create a reason for people to use and compute again. The immersive experience with HoloLens and other VR devices is truly amazing.
And I'm talking about the X3. I'm so excited. I was even watching the video, and I'll definitely get an X3. And
he asked for one.
I asked for one, and he's going to get me one. When I look at Continuum, I mean, that was the idea, which is, what's the power? We need real device innovation that can actually take advantage of the software innovation. Sometimes we over-index on just the device or just the software. It's not the case. You know, it's really about the two coming together at magical price points with great developer support. That's what creates platform effects. And X3 is one such. Just like how 3-4 years ago people were wondering, is really a two-in-one an interesting idea? And I think we're at that stage. So it's really incumbent on us to be able to find those use cases, get those applications where having Continuum light up X3, I think could be a very, very category creating moment for us.
Yeah, and that's why the PC is not dead, and that's why this business can return to growth.
Absolutely.
Let's switch gears a little bit to some fairly dramatic things that I think are happening in the channel, whether it's consumers, retailers, SMB customers, or enterprises. They're beginning to change their behavior in an omni-channel world. We see new entrants that obviously have become very big and colossal, and we have our traditional channels that have operated for many years. How do you think the market evolves in the future, and how are you adapting Microsoft to deal with this new world and new partner community?
I mean, when I broadly think of the transformation, it's being dictated by how customers want to interface with you. I mean, it's fundamentally, I was just reviewing some of the customer service trends inside of Microsoft. Of course, my inbox itself, gets a lot of traffic in terms of customer service. But beyond that, take what we're doing with the bot interface. Because before you even get to the customer service representative, can you get most of the questions answered in a more efficient way, in a more personal way? There are new techniques now that we can deploy at scale. Just as part of, in fact, our Dynamics product line, we're even experimenting with what does it mean to take the customer service module and put an intelligent AI-powered bot on it to completely change how customers can really interface with you. And it doesn't mean that you don't have the human. You will always have a customer service rep for the complex question, but the bot's even learning in that context.
Right.
And so the entire process that I describe is, whether it's about the sales process, the marketing process, the service process, of course it's going to be omni-channel, but what is perhaps going to be the most relevant thing for us to do as we build out our partner programs, partner systems, is the intelligence that is there in the feedback loop. That is, we are able to learn from every customer interaction, every partner interaction. How can we make the process better? It's no longer this imperative, static thing. It's much more dynamic. And to me, that's at the frontier of what we're trying to, in fact, architect into our own products.
Right. So onliners shouldn't own the whole domain of speed. traditional channels should be able to leverage these new technologies to become as fast as the online operators, and then have the ability to offer that personal touch that
completely
is very difficult.
I mean, if you look at it, I mean, the rush now seems to be for those who were born online to go offline. And so in some sense, that's what needs, I mean, it's going to balance out that way. So you're absolutely right. There are certain attributes that the online channels had, which are very, very scale-oriented, which I think we should adopt even for how we do offline. But there is real power in how we've done offline. And we now need to be able to amplify that. And so the capability building goes both ways, I would say.
Right. So let me ask this next question with a bit of a background story. Satya takes office as the CEO of Microsoft, and I think he was about a month into the role, and Microsoft was tendering for a new MFP contract. And it sort of came to our attention that Microsoft really wanted to go down the copier kind of route, where on each floor on a Microsoft building, they wanted one copier. Our technology lends itself to a distributed kind of architecture. And it kind of didn't work out, and I didn't realize how busy CEOs really got. And so I'm on the phone to Satya trying to get him to change his mind. And he held firm. He said, this is the way we really want to deploy. And it was a real eye-opener for me, because I realized that, you know, you can't force a square peg into a round hole, which is why we've made this investment here to be in both A3 and A4. And despite the fact that we're one of your largest customers, it still made sense for you to not do business with us because it was the way you wanted to operate your company. Fair game. And all that did was set the context for, if we're going to do business together, you have to earn it every single day. With our entrance into the A3, I'm going to come knocking, Satya, when your contract's up. But I think it's a great segue into how we thought about our sales tools and our customer management software, and we've been on Salesforce.com for a long time, and we really kind of took a look at it as we're doing right across the entire company, and we said, is there a better way? And frankly, you guys really earned this business. You didn't get this business, you know, I wasn't about to give it to you in the same way that you weren't about to give us printers. You earned this business because this gives us a real 360-degree view of our entire sales motion, from the time we create a quote all the way through to using ICE in order to do sales compensation and everything in between. And John showed a great video there. So it's clear why we did it, but how do you think the collective partners in the room would also benefit from this connected experience on the Dynamics platform?
It's a pretty exciting part of our business. In the past, we've not talked as much about Dynamics and Dynamics 365, but I would say it's one of the fastest growing parts of Microsoft today, but more importantly, architecturally, the way we are building Office 365, Dynamics 365, and Azure are not as three different things, but as one connected cloud architecture, ultimately to help customers' digital transformation. We ourselves are using it in terms of how we engage customers, how we empower employees, how we optimize our operations, change the business model. And our goal is to be able to really then work with partners like you to create that digital transformation end-to-end story. Because when people talk about business process applications, one of the big secrets of business process applications is the agility with which you can continuously change it to meet your evolving needs. Because if you sort of said the business process is static and the cost of change is too much, then it's very quickly there will be an impedance between what is happening in reality and your automation. And so the way we have architected Dynamics CRM, how we have thought about the integration scenarios between your productivity and communication tools, whether it's Skype or Outlook and your sales process, that's where the power of what we do, or even BI with Power BI. So we've architected it for that. But the exciting thing about, obviously, for the partners is, as we streamline with our own tools, as you streamline with your tools, it's partner opportunity. I thought it was well said in the previous keynote that ultimately it's about your cash, it's about your profit, it's about your revenue, because we're not doing this just to have a new system. We're doing this so that we can have a business process that's fundamentally more efficient.
Yeah.
But we don't stop there, because after all, we're in the business of helping our customers digitally transform. So I would say one of the most exciting things for me with this audience is, just imagine you're calling on a customer with your X3, with these applications like Dynamics 365 and Office 365. You're not just able to talk about the new devices, but you're able to talk about the ROI from these new processes that they can deploy with these new devices. So that's what I think we should perfect. And I want us to even collaborate, build the partner programs that get you familiar with the value of these digital transformation stories, and then to take it to our customers.
Absolutely. So two great opportunities. One, to plug in to us so that we're faster as we operate. You're going to be on it, we're going to be on it. So the more of you that are on it, we're going to have a much faster speed of light connection. But then to be able to take those advantages and transform our customers' workflows. Let's move to something that I think about a lot inside HP as we reinvent ourselves. It's really, how do you deal with change? There's an industry going through rapid change. How do you drive cultural change inside a company? How do you look, and what do you expect from your leaders in order to make that transformational change?
You know, culture ultimately, I think, defines long-term success. Sometimes you can get away by just focusing on business results and making it happen, maybe in spite of culture, but that's just not sustainable. So I've always taken the view that, first of all, culture is everything, and second, it's not a static thing, it's more of a dynamic thing. So we've picked as the cultural meme inside of Microsoft what we describe as the growth mindset. And this comes from the work Carol Dweck at Stanford did for child psychology, and I was inspired by it because I felt if what is good for the boys and girls in school, when the basic concept there is very simple, which is you take two people and one of them is a know-it-all and the other is a learn-it-all. The learn-it-all will always trump the know-it-all in the long run, even if the know-it-all starts with more innate capability.
Yeah.
If that is true for boys and girls in school, I think it's true for CEOs like me, and it's true for companies like Microsoft, which is made up of all people. And it also puts the onus on every individual mindset, right? It's not, culture is not this abstract thing that's on a poster on the wall and somebody else's job.
It can't be bestowed. Right?
It can't be bestowed, or you can't wait for it to be bestowed or it to happen around. You have to take it on.
Right.
After all, the culture is a reflection of who you are and your mindset. Collectively, and so therefore that's been very, very, very helpful for us. I mean, this is a never-ending journey, but for me, getting the right way to even formulate what is it that we are trying to aspire, and I like that the notion of taking individual responsibility for shaping Microsoft's culture versus acting as victims of some culture. The second thing that you asked also is something that I've been paying a lot of attention to, which is what makes leadership, or what makes good leaders, or what is the leadership attributes. This doesn't mean you need to be a senior executive. I mean, everyone is a leader. But what is it that we expect of leaders? I think of three things increasingly. One is, in a world like ours where there is so much change, it's super important for people to come to work and bring clarity. So the first thing I look in leaders is, where there is confusion, are they bringing clarity? Second, are they creating energy around them? Not just inside their org. Everybody says, oh, I'm great, my org is great, everyone else sucks. That's not what we mean by energy. You have to be able to create an energy all around.
There's not energy zappers.
Exactly. And by the way, it's also to things like the partner channel. People who generate energy. And lastly, of course, in a constrained environment, drives success. Clarity, energy, success. And you just look and evaluate people. How are they able to do on those three dimensions? Is at least given me a lot of clarity on how to evaluate leaders.
They're great tenants, and I think it's a great way to finish our conversation. Satya and Nadella, thank you for joining us, and thank you for sharing with our partner community team here what we can expect in the future from Microsoft, what we can expect in the industry. Appreciate all your time.
Thank you so much, and thank you for the partnership.
So I'm between you